So a landmark vote is going to happen next month with the MORE Act. And what that means for the cannabis industry, the MORE Act, or the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expunge Act, is going to remove cannabis from a list of controlled substances. So what does that mean for the cannabis industry? Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, capital markets analyst and host of your cannabis business podcast. So I think it's kind of important to kind of look at what might happen if the MORE Act, as well as the States Act, if either one of them were to get passed or any part of that legislation gets pulled and put into legislation and passed, what is that going to mean for the industry at large? Well, the MORE Act is going to remove cannabis from a list of controlled substances, and that is going to make it maybe more available or maybe not. Reason why I say that is because if Biden, that looks like he might take the next top president, if that happens and Biden's administration reschedules it from a Schedule 1, which has controlled substances like heroin and LSD and ecstasy, and makes it a Schedule 2, which is for big pharma, pharmaceuticals. They also use synthetic heroin and synthetic opium for big pharma's pills. That's going to basically put cannabis in the hands of big pharma, and the FDA will be the regulator. So it's going to be really, really expensive for companies to get approval for that. So I think it's going to wipe out the industry if that's the route they go. If not, and they just completely legalize it and take the MORE Act as face value, then what's going to happen is there's going to be more than just decriminalized cannabis. So we're going to see that it's going to expunge convictions and eliminate a lot of the sentencing and hearings that were going to happen for cannabis-related offenses. And so what's going to happen is with the MORE Act, you're going to have cannabis is going to be replacing marijuana in the statutory references. You'll see the Bureau of Labor Statistics regularly publishing demographic data on cannabis employers and business owners. You'll see money allocated to trust funds to help support communities impacted by the war on drugs. I think California is already starting to move towards something similar to that. You'll see a 5% tax on cannabis products imposed and required revenues to deposit into the above trust to help those communities impacted by the war on drugs. The SBA loans will be available for cannabis businesses. The denial of federal public benefits to a person due to related cannabis will be prohibited, and denial of benefits under the protections under immigration law based on cannabis will also be prohibited. So what does it mean for the cannabis industry? So it's going to signal that the industry is growing and the momentum is there. More states are going to legalize adult use. They'll be continuing to do so regardless of whether the MORE Act passes. There's a lot of opportunity opening up in the market, and those outside of the industry are more eager to enter. So as the market continues to become larger and more competitive, more important than ever to keep track of what industry trends and data. So whether or not the MORE Act passes, it has implications for various parts of the cannabis industry and how to build effective strategies. So if it does pass, investors and the industry need to be aware of trends associated with investing and mergers and acquisitions. So if the act doesn't pass, members of the cannabis industry or those interested in joining it should be focused on identifying the right market to enter, which brands and products are doing well in the spaces depending on the market, and keeping track of further efforts of cannabis legalization. So with nearly 30% of all Americans over 21 living in a state with access to legal cannabis, it could increase to 40% by the end of 2021. And so keeping track of trends like the following is going to help you better position your business to succeed in a rapidly growing industry, like knowing about the size of the market. Understanding how each market is growing and compared to the overall size of new and mature markets to determine the potential business opportunity. So with the appropriate tools, you'll be able to dig into emerging brands, popular cannabis segments, and new consumer trends. That's going to help you to determine which market is the best opportunity for your business. Every market has different regulations and nuances that impact business process and consumer purchasing trends. And with the right data, that can help you identify gaps in each market so you can better identify opportunities, like knowing which products are legally available. Different products may or may not be available in different states, and using the right metrics, you can learn which product categories are available in each state and how to how popular those products are going to be with potential customers. And it's important to keep an eye on the top brands in flower and edibles and other markets to learn about competition. So there's going to be a lot moving forward with the MORE Act. The House that planned on voting in September was delayed until December. So if the bill does eventually pass the House, it'll move to the Senate, where the bill is being sponsored by Kamala Harris, the vice president-elect. So President-elect Joe Biden, he favors the decriminalization of cannabis and expunging criminal records related to cannabis offenses, but current President Donald Trump is openly opposed. It's hard to say what's going to happen, but in the meantime, you just have to come back to the Talking Hedge and find out. With that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't, and I'm out. Don't forget to smash that like button on your way out and check out these other videos that we've got.